I'd like to say thank you to the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame. I'd like to say thank you to the chair, Dr. Bob Billington. I'd like to say thank you to Rick Belair, the vice chair and the chief archiver. And believe me, he's a wonderful person, this Rick Belair. We've become great phone buddies. We've had some great conversations about music, and he really knows what he's talking about. We go way back in the history of music, and he's really been doing his homework. He told me more about me than I knew about myself. I'd also like to thank Cleveland Kurtz, who's been very, very, very influential in getting this done also. I would like to talk about my career a little bit. I was raised on the east side of Providence, Rhode Island, the great city of Providence, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time we had over there. We had a lot of people who sang on the corner. We had a lot of doo-wop groups. I went to school at Doyle Avenue. I went to school at Summit Avenue. I went to school at Nathan Bishop. I went to school at Hope High School. And through all of that, I learned music from the people around me. My biggest influence was my dad, Clarence Legs Osborne, one of the greatest trumpet players I've ever heard. I remember singing with my dad at the old Elks Auditorium, downtown Providence, when I was 4 years old, back when the microphones didn't go up and down, and he'd stand me on a box, and I'd stand there singing songs. And he was just a great influence on me as far as music was concerned. He was hard, but he wasn't hard. He was stern, and he got it done the way it should be done with me. He made sure that I knew what I was doing. My other biggest influence was my brother Joel, one of the nicest people you ever will meet. He used to play the piano when he was about 11, and I was about 9, and I used to look up at him like he was some kind of genius. And I'd stand there and listen to him play these chords, and all of these chords went to all the songs back in the 50s. You could sing all of them, Cherry Pie, you could sing all the songs. They would all go to these same chords. So I would look at him and we'd do this, man. He'd teach me these things. It was a wonderful thing. My brother Clay was a great influence on me also, another great singer from Rhode Island, one of the best I've ever heard. My sister Janine was a great singer also. She sang with a group called the Dials, and that group used to do gigs at the Arcadia Ballroom downtown, the old Arcadia Ballroom, which was owned by Ray Belair. And we used to do gigs down there, and I'd play the drums for them, and I'd be their rehearsal pianist. And it was just a great time. And then after that, I had a group called Randy and the Stompers. Randy Ash was the leader of the group. I was in the group. Arthur Hazard was in the group. Herman Pittman, rest in peace, was in the group. Harry Bailey, rest in peace, was in the group. Bert Eckhoff was in the group. Jimmy McCann, rest in peace. They were all in the group. Artie Cabral, another one of the honorees, was also played in that group. We were young. We were way up to Asbestos, Quebec, and played gigs up there. And at 16, I left Rhode Island, and I went to New York City. And when I went to New York City, I played with some of the greatest musicians that ever lived. I worked with the great guitar player Wes Montgomery. I worked with Jim Hall. I worked with the great saxophone player Jimmy Giuffre. Jimmy Garrison was one of my best friends, and we played a lot together. He was the bass player for John Coltrane, so I got to hang around Elvin and Jimmy and listen to John Coltrane and have him talk to me about music, and it was just great times for music, great times in New York. Everybody was teaching, everybody was sharing, and it was a wonderful thing. After that, I moved to Los Angeles, where I became the musical director for a group called the Friends of Distinction, where I wrote the song Check It Out for them, only to have it recorded by the group Tavares, which was their first hit record, Check It Out. And I tell you, it was a wonderful surprise for me for them to sing the song and have such a big hit record. They were also in the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame. Thank you guys for recording that song. And after that, I joined a group called L.T.D, and we had a lot of success. We had a lot of hit records in L.T.D. My younger brother was also in L.T.D. Like I say, we had a lot of success. We were one of the biggest groups of that era. After that, I started producing records, and I had some success with the Confunction. I had some success with Vesta Williams. I had success with the Emotions. I did these records right here at Skip Sailor's, which was a great studio that I work in a lot.
I don't give a what key you in, baby. It's still the same thing. Notes are notes. You know that, Billy. You play them, you're a musician. Notes don't lie.
After that, I got the best gig of my life. I got to work with the icon, the genius, Ray Charles.
You're going to have to change the key.
Ain't no problem.
So I want it in D.
Okay.
I like D.
15 years. I spent time with him in the studio 3 or 4 days a week getting lessons.
If you sing it, I think I can do it.
From the top of the chorus.
Yeah, yeah.
3, 4. Won't you help me find my baby?
Lessons on top of lessons, things that have never ever left me.
Yeah. That is.
After that, I started working the project with Terry Lewis from the partnership of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So as you can see, my musical career has been a whole trip all the way around, from a child playing in the Celebrity Club, sitting in with Lionel Hampton at the Celebrity Club, and all those wonderful things. And there's so much more to say that I just can't say it in this one, because this is a short one that we have to do a short one for the press. And once again, let me thank the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame again, and the great state of Rhode Island and the city of Providence. And I will be there in April to accept this wonderful honor. And the first thing I do when I get there, I'm going to Onlyville, and I'm going to the New York system and have me one of those wieners. Thank you, Rhode Island, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.